Well, it has been a week to remember for both good reasons and some very actually devastating reasons. Today I'm going to bring you guys with me as I'm doing my evening chores and talk about all the things that have been going on since my last post. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. I guess my first update as I do my evening chores is I now have some new evening chores. We got our group of butcher pigs from our friends up in Vina. This year we got 6, and I think this is a really good looking batch of pigs. I'm excited to see how these guys are gonna do. Right now they're hungry though, so let me show you what I'm feeding them in their first week at the ranch. It won't be long and I'll be milling up my own grain and combining it with soybean and minerals to make these guys a custom ration. But while they're new here, I like to feed them something a little bit special and a little bit sweet just to help them get used to the transition of coming here, and to also just get them used to the idea of that, you know, when they see me, they're probably going to get fed. So that'll make them a little bit more friendly and a little bit more bunk broke, I guess. Basically, I'm kind of conditioning them to come up and see what I've got so that they'll start eating and not, you know, ignore the food for a while and let the chickens get it. So I'm just giving them this standard Purina pig feed here, and I'm mixing it with some powdered goat milk replacer. There's something about the goat milk that is very easy for them to digest, and they do really well on it. So to me, that's always been a good way to give them a little jump start when I get them home. Just give that a couple minutes to soak in, and then it's ready to go. They're getting this mixture twice a day, and that seems to be about right for them. Now, I know as you guys watch them eat that surely some people are gonna tell me that I need a bigger pan to feed those pigs because there's not enough room for all of them to eat. And to those people, I would say that it does not really matter how big the pan is. They're all gonna gather together and fight like that. But there is enough food there that once the more dominant pigs get full, the other ones will come back and finish what's left. If you watch them closely, you will notice that their strategy for eating is not just to get their head in there and eat, but it's also to block the other pigs from being able to eat. So like I said, it doesn't really matter how big the pan is. They're gonna fight like that almost regardless. Now let's run down to the ranch and move the cows, and there's something else that I want to show you guys down there. Last week we had what I am expecting will be our last calf of the year. We still have 3 cows to go, but looking around, it doesn't look too promising. I think this is it. And of course, fresh pasture move. He doesn't want to hold still, or she doesn't want to hold still, I should say. But it's a pretty healthy looking calf, very small. Small enough that I actually looked around for twins, because usually when you have a set of twins, they're quite small, as one would imagine. But I couldn't find anything, so I guess just a little calf. All right, well, that is gonna satisfy them for a little while, so let's move on to the next thing. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is that I finally got all the pipe welded up on this fence. While I was doing that, I didn't really do a proper film job, and the reason for that is that it was about 105 or 106 while I was doing this, and it was pretty miserable. That is too hot to be welding, but I really had to get this done, so I didn't really have a choice. At any rate, while I was doing that, I just wanted to get done as fast as I could, and while you're filming, things take a lot longer. I did film a little bit, just action shots, but as far as like stopping to talk to the camera, that just wasn't gonna happen. I'm not completely done with this fence. Really, the last thing that I'm kind of waiting on is I need to come back and cap all the tops of these posts. And the reason that I do that is because I don't want them filling up with water from the top, but I also don't want wasps making homes in there, because that's just the perfect kind of place that they would like to be. And I don't want to be dealing with that when I am out here. Most of these posts came out just about right as far as their height goes, but you can certainly see the post where I hit the root is quite a bit taller than the others. I mean, not a whole lot, but definitely noticeable. So I will have to come back and cut this one off and a few others. Once I do that, I can weld the caps on and this will be done, except for paint, which is the part of the project that really does make it look awesome, but it is the part that I hate the most. I'm not a painter. I know that some people were wanting to know the details of how all this is done or the materials that I used. So I believe I said in the last video that this is 3x3 by 3/16 wall square tubing. The cross pipes that I use are 1.5" schedule 40 pipe. So these measure about 2 inches on the outer diameter, and the wall thickness is a little over 1/8, but not quite 1/4. So I guess that probably makes it about 3/16, just like the posts. The pipe is spaced apart 12 inches on center, which leaves about a 10-inch gap in between. Some smaller cows will be able to get their heads through here, but most of them can't. I haven't really had too much of a problem with that in the past. At the beginning of the video, I was talking about things that were memorable, and this is one of those things. It may not seem like a huge deal just to build a fence, but I think the way that I built this, it should be here as long as I am. So I'm happy with it, which is good because I'm going to be looking at it for a long time. I also hinted at something very devastating that would make this week memorable, and I'm going to tell you guys about that now by rolling some footage that I shot a few days ago. Well, today we were hit with some pretty devastating news. I got a phone call and from several people actually informing me that my hayfield had caught on fire, and I'll just put it straight out there. Out of the 130 round bales that were out there, only 3 of them did not catch on fire. I don't generally like to make the woe is me video. I don't want people's pity or anything like that, but I do feel like I need to tell you guys what's happening, because this is going to shape what the rest of our year looks like, and possibly the year after. Luckily, I was at least able to get about 100 bales moved back to the barn before this happened, but I've still ended up losing over half of my hay crop. I got done talking with the firemen a little while ago, and they've pretty well got it put out, but it is still smoldering, and you know, the bales are still burning. They'll burn for a while. But the fireman was wanting me, if I could, to disc a little fire break along the burn line, because he was worried that it might kind of jump back to the landowner's house. And I've already lost enough, but I mean, fortunately, it is just hay. It can be replaced. I certainly don't want anyone to lose a home or to get injured. So I'm gonna do that. It's not really what I want to be doing today, and really this hayfield is the last place that I want to be right now, because every time I look out there, I mean, honestly, it makes me feel like I want to throw up to just look at this. All right, I think we're ready to go. So that is where we're at. All the preparation, the planning, the money spent in the last year, and this is where we're at. Many of you, like me, I'm sure, are wondering how the fire started. It sounds like they were mowing right behind the field there. I would say that it is very, very likely that that mower sparked on a rock or a piece of metal or something, and that's probably how it started. I know this video is kind of a downer. You know, I usually try to keep it upbeat, but today that is very difficult for me to do. Still, I'm trying to see any bright sides, any positives in this, and thinking of ways that, you know, it could be worse. My great grandma used to say that nothing is ever so bad that it can't be worse, and that is true. At the end of the day, we lost money and we lost hay. Those are things that, you know, it's hard to lose that stuff, but it can be replaced. I didn't lose my wife or my daughter or anything like that. So in that regard, it can definitely be a lot worse. But it's just, oh man, it's a tough pill to swallow. I'm trying to be positive about it, but it sucks. I mean, this is just a disaster. But we will move on. We'll get through it. We always do. And this is just the hand that we were dealt this year. So I guess in times like this, you see what you're made of. Now, I wanted to put a little update here at the end. I have since talked with the responsible party, and they've agreed to pay for everything in full. So we will at least be reimbursed and made whole again. But it still does not, it can't replace the amount of disappointment that I felt when all of this happened. You know, I had my heart set on round bales this year, and I did so much work to get ready for that and to get prepared for making that happen. And I thought, you know, that we were ready. And now this happens, and it looks like I have not seen the last of feeding small square bales. So I guess it's a good thing that I didn't tear this manger down, which I never really had any intention of doing. But it's going to be getting some use this year. I think the round bales that did survive, that I was able to get over here, I'm going to put over here on the side stall of the barn so that I can fit most of them on the side here. There'll be a few that don't fit, but that'll free up the rest of the space in here. I can put all the small squares along the manger, and it'll make feeding them out a little bit easier. I think the round bales I will use for feeding out in the field, and for the weaned calves down there at their manger, because I do still plan on converting that manger over to round bales, because I've got the parts from Lakeland and I definitely don't want to back out on doing that. And I think I have enough rounds here to feed the calves through the year. So for now, that's my plan. We'll see how it might change in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.